Hi, babies. I am coming from a different angle to you this morning because I am usually just randomly picking this thing up and kind of bubbling out. And I know that a lot of you have commented that it's kind of hard to connect the dots with stuff that I talk about. I'm going to attempt a little bit of exegesis here. I prefer the flying by the seat of my pants delivery. I think there is an impact in it and an impartation in it. However, I'm sitting here with my Bible open, and I've had this word, firstfruits, banging around in me for a few days, and I know where it's from, so I am cracking open Romans chapter 8, verse 23, and this is my springboard. I'm just getting a download off of this, and I wanted to share it. Starting at verse 22, says, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning as in the pains of childbirth right up to this present time. Not only so, but we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption as sons, which is the redemption of our bodies." And that first fruits word is really sticking out to me, and I dug into it a little bit. There's a place in James chapter 1:18 where it also talks about first fruits. I wanted to find a place where it actually referred to something identifying to us we are the first fruits, because it says we have the first fruits. James 1:18 says that we are like a kind of first fruits, and it's a really big word. I mean, you think in the Hebrews of the Feast of First Fruits, when they grow crops or they have increase, and it's just an act of worship. They bring the first of their increase to God. And in reference to ourselves being first fruits, it's so much more impactful than just some sort of harvest or agricultural concept. That there is a first fruits of the Spirit, and there's in the inkling that I'm getting from Paul in Romans, and then what James talks about in chapter 1 verse 18. It's like they don't even know. It's like, this is what we shall be, but we who have the first fruits of the Spirit groan inwardly as we await for the adoption, which is the redemption of our bodies. So there's an inkling and a hope and a scratching of your head and a wonder here. You can't really connect the dots with that, can you? It has to be impartation. It has to be conveying wonder. It's like you're not going to connect the dots and saying this is that, because when first fruits is talking about is an inherently impactful statement that's saying, like, you need to wonder at this because you're going to become something that you can't even imagine right now. And let me just bring this up real quick. So the Greek word is archomai, or wait, is that right? Hang on. Eparche, A-P-A-R-C-H-E, eparche, which is made up of two Greek words, apo and arche. And arche is where we get the word archon or archaic, and it means something old, something from the beginning. But archon is also a ruler, a chief, something from the beginning. So in James, in that context, that something from the beginning to begin, when James talks about first fruits, eparche, where's he at? I don't read James too much. But I'm getting some inspiration today, so here we go. He says, "He chose us and gave us birth through the word of truth. He begat us by the word of truth, so that we may be a kind of first fruits of all that He created." And so we're a kind of first fruits. There you go. I don't know what it is. It's a kind of first fruits. I can't really identify it. I can't put my finger on it. It's indefinable, but it's a fact. And this is what you are. This is who you're going to be. This is the first fruits, the inkling, the glimpses, the light, the glory that we've got the pleasure in the fellowship of the mystery to behold one another is the first fruits of all that we're going to become. And if we could actually see who we are in Christ, if I could see you as you are in Christ, if you see me as I am in Christ. I mean, there's a place in the book of Revelation that one of the fellow servants of John the Divine, he said, don't worship me, I'm one of your fellow servants, because the shifting of light turned in such a way so that John the Revelation said, you know, I'm going to worship you because you're all that. There's that first fruits opened up into something wider when John had that encounter with that entity in Revelation that was godlike, and he was like, this is not appropriate that you worship me because I am one of your fellow servants. So what kind of company have we been brought into the midst of, being defined as first fruits? And this meditation also brought me to the book of Genesis, and my devotional time here this morning actually started out in 1:1 of Genesis, where it talks about, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and that's what it is. That before that, you're begotten by the word of truth, that you may be a kind of first fruits, archon. And you know, archon is a chief, a ruler. Archon is a designation that has been used to describe angelic powers and principalities. And I mean, there is layers and a hierarchy and a ranking in the angelic order, and it says before the archons, above the archons, surpassing these things that seem to be excellent in power, there's you in Christ before the foundations of the world. This is just good news to me. And I did start going past that exegesis, connecting the dots there, because I guess I just can't help my rants. It's just what I do. But he gave us birth. Let me read that in the King James real quick. See what because I like it better in the King James. James 1:18. It says, of his own, wait a minute. Every good and perfect gift is from above and cometh down from the Father of lights. Know whose you are and where you've come from, with whom there is no variableness nor shadow of turning. Of his own will he begat us with the word of truth, that we should be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. I could just really get into this a little more deeper. That's about where I'm at right now. I got past the connecting the dot to dot bit, and it just leaves us, hopefully I've imparted a little bit of wonder to you, scratching your head, and hopefully the next time we see face to face there will be a little bit more honor and regard between ourselves, as all this craziness in the world kind of fades and things come to light of what's really in you and what's really in me. You know, this is just wonderful. So bless you all so much. I'm going to sign out, and we'll maybe do more of these types of videos some other time. I'm kind of digging this. Hopefully we can figure out some sort of format where I'm not always flying by the seat of my pants.